Good afternoon. Welcome to the afternoon edition of Special Report with Christopher Oldcorn and me, Colette Linden. Thank you, Casey Security, for your sponsorship. Okay, so the Premier's coming up, yes. Minister of Health, and he is also with Dr.
David Williams,
Chief
Medical Officer.
And we have not received the 2-minute time warning yet, so once we do, we will let you know when he's coming up. Okay, I would like to start off by just a couple of celebrations coming up over the weekend. As you know, Chris and I will not be in tomorrow, but
that'll be a celebratory day for some of you.
For many of you, especially people we work with. So we will have a special tomorrow, and this is focusing on Luann Young's semi-retirement, and that is an exclusive interview with both Luann and Tim, which will run at 1 o'clock and 8 a.m. Yes. So please tune in for that. It's a great exclusive interview. But over to some celebrations. My parents are celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary on Saturday, June 20th, and they are in Hamilton. So sadly, I won't see them. This is my parents, Brian and Alexis Linden, when they got married in Scotland. Unfortunately, they did have a planned trip to go, but due to COVID-19, they couldn't. Now, they've been traveling all over the world since my dad is now retired. He was in the fire department at Stelco, and did a lot for the community, and this is them there with my aunts and uncles also on a cruise. So they're enjoying their retirement and they're enjoying their 50 years. And this is them in New York City with my cousin Louise Ann and my Aunt Elizabeth, who traveled from Scotland to be with them. So from 800 kilometers away, I wanted to wish you a very happy 50th anniversary, and we have something planned for them on Saturday, but they're going to have to wait and see about that. And also...
but you just spoiled it because you told them.
No, they don't know what it is.
Oh, okay.
My cousin Derek Murphy, who is also in Scotland, I want to wish him a very happy birthday and sending love to him from us here in Sault Ste. Marie. And that's everything for my family anniversaries and birthdays. But unfortunately, I don't get to see my parents, and I'm upset about that. Because a lot of changes happened, and we'd had a big celebration planned, and we'll get to it one day.
Yeah, and speaking of birthdays, happy birthday to Jeff Gunn. He's a friend of mine from when I was a kid. We were tennis partners, and I interviewed him. He's a Juno Award-nominated guitarist,
songwriter. You did an interview with him.
Yes, he's worked with Nelly Furtado, and he's traveled all over the world.
Some big names he was with,
he has worked with a lot of the big names. Even one of the Beatles he worked with, too.
Get Out. Do you know which one?
Yes, I believe it was Ringo.
But
I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it was.
Actually, when I was speaking with Luann yesterday, she said she had an interview with Yoko Ono. Yeah, so that ties in well. Yeah, she's had some great interviews. So please tune in tomorrow for more from Luann. Okay, so again, the Premier will be coming up and speaking. We'll be throwing to him. We have a lot of stories we want to get to today, including a Made in Canada contract tracing app ready for testing in Ontario. So Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says a Made in Canada app has been created to, have been exposed. So what it is, if you've been exposed to COVID-19, you use this app and you update it. This is completely voluntary. Like, this is not regulated by any means. Both Apple and Google have developed new software to use Bluetooth connections to log what other phones you've come into contact with recently as well. So there's a lot of, again, I know we're talking about security and privacy issues, but this app will be ready for downloading early next month. So we'll have more on that, but I thought that was quite interesting and a unique.
Actually, speaking about contact tracing apps, the UK, which has had a massive outbreak, London has been shut down for quite some time. They had a contact tracing app that the government was making, and they just abandoned it today for the Apple and Google app.
Oh, good. Okay.
So this app is like flying around the world, but it seems that even governments are saying, hey, we kind of need your help here, Apple and Google, on this one. Because they've been trying for a couple months now to try and get this app in the UK to work, and it just hasn't. But the Apple and Google ones are actually much better.
Well, you can't go wrong with Apple and Google on your side.
Yeah, I mean, those are the two biggies, right?
Yeah, absolutely. What about if you're going to the hair salon and now you have to provide your contact information, or Burger Don?
Burger Don, I had to provide my name, address, phone number, and so did my girlfriend.
And by writing it down, correct?
That's
correct.
So
someone has to transfer that information into a digital format, I would assume.
Or they just keep it on file, and if something happens, then they can pull out, okay, this is the day, and then here. I
have a feeling the government is going to eventually want some type of database that you can upload all that information to.
Which becomes a huge civil
Yeah,
rights
it is.
/ liability thing for the government? And
Yeah.
also, do we want to give them that much control?
Plus, you have to make sure everybody's honest with the information they're providing. So there could be
Yes.
a lot of loophole or gaps in that idea. But nonetheless, let's be positive about that and know that it's toward working to keep everyone safe. So, as you heard, Canada did not receive the seat on the UN Security Council. In the Prime Minister's address today, he's saying it's because they applied late. So in 2015, I believe, is when they started showing
2016,
2015, 2016, he started showing interest in this. The other countries had already developed their plan and
Well,
was
they had been
working into
campaigning
it.
since 2005.
That's right.
So they had
they're
a little bit of a
behind.
head start.
They had 10 years on them,
Yeah.
and then we had 5 years to catch up. So
Yes.
both those countries nearly secured the required 2/3 support of the 192 voting
Ireland
members
just
yesterday.
made it at 129 because you need 128, and Ireland literally just scooted over that line at 129.
They 129. Okay.
Very close vote.
But I found it interesting that Trudeau just had his last piece was the defeat of the Canadian effort led by Trudeau followed a failed bid by former Conservative government under Stephen Harper. So
Yes, Stephen
that's
Harper
what
failed
you
at it
call
as well.
passing the
Yeah.
buck.
There was someone else that failed too in the past to try to get that council seat as well. I just can't remember who it was, but Harper failed. Trudeau's failed. A lot of this, by the way, happens to the fact that we are spending way less on UN peacekeepers than we used to in the past, like back in the 90s, when we were all over the place with that, and our peacekeeper numbers have been going down, and UN countries noticed that.
Okay, so
That
Ireland
is,
would definitely
that's
be...
a major thing to getting a seat on the Security Council, because the Security Council, part of what it does is decide where UN peacekeepers go.
Okay, well that would make sense why Ireland is...
We have been scaling back, even before Harper was in, we've been scaling back our peacekeeping.
Yeah.
And it's actually at an all-time low in the last 40 years or something right now.
I just found it kind of humorous that he threw that in there. He's not only did he blame another leader, he blamed the other party at that too. So, what are you going to do?
Let's face it, in the last 15 years, both the Conservatives and Liberals both failed at that. So now they have something in common.
Well, the Green Party, they're get set for their debate, but we'll have more about that later.
Yeah, you got that
and
coming up,
also
too.
the Conservative leaders will meet again tonight.
Yes.
For the English version.
Which is, they're all fluent in English apparently.
I'm hoping
so it
that...
won't be as entertaining
I'm hoping
as
his
last
accent
night.
won't allow him to...
Oh, McKay's accent, that could be an issue. Yes.
He won't be able to properly communicate.
Only
when
people
he's
on the East Coast will understand what he's saying, and
That's
the rest of Canada won't figure it out.
That's so untrue. Quickly before the Premier comes out, I wanted to address an event happening on Sunday, June 21st. And now it is Father's Day that day, which is a big day. The ALS Awareness Month is this month of June. Now, of course, they had a walk planned, and it's a global walk, but that has been scaled back to a virtual walk, which we hear so much of these days, okay? So people in Sault Ste. Marie, your local ALS chapter is asking you to participate, and not just in walking, but doing any event or activity.
Doug Ford is coming up to the podium right now, so we're going to cut to Doug Ford. We'll be back in 1 minute. Hold tight.
Well, good afternoon. From the start of this pandemic, we've used every tool available to us to fight off this deadly threat. We face an invisible enemy. But if we test, we can find it. If we trace, we can track it. And if we have those two things, we can contain it. That's why we expanded our testing capacity so anyone who needs a test can get a test. We rapidly built up a network of 30 laboratories and 130 assessment centers to ramp up our testing capacity, now reaching over 20,000 tests a day in recent weeks. We worked with our public health units and other partners to build up an army of 2,000 contact tracers to follow up on each case. We're now exceeding our target of reaching 90% of cases within 24 hours, but we need to keep going. Testing and contact tracing is critical. Building this capacity will help us stop the virus in its tracks. And today, we're launching our government's enhanced case management and contact tracing strategy. This strategy will help us strengthen and support contact tracing, giving us the ability to consistently and reliably track cases of COVID-19. It's absolutely critical to have this capacity as we begin to reopen more regions of our province. And the federal government has offered us an additional support of up to 1,700 Stats Canada personnel. These are absolute pros at data collection. They speak 35 different languages, and they can make up to 20,000 calls a day. And I have to thank Stats Canada for stepping up and the federal government. As part of this strategy, we're launching a new Made in Ontario app for contact tracing called COVID Alert. I want to be clear, personal privacy was our #1 priority as we worked to develop this app. In partnership with the federal government, this Made in Ontario app will alert Ontarians and Canadians if they've been exposed to someone who has tested positive for COVID-19 in the last 14 days. The data will be anonymous and protect the privacy of the users. That was the top of the list when we looked at apps, protecting people's privacy. I have to recognize the folks at the Ontario Digital Service and our Chief Digital Officer, Hilary Hartley, and the incredible volunteers from Shopify who developed this state-of-the-art technology right here in Ontario. I really want to thank CEO of Shopify, Toby Luque, for his leadership and for donating their time to keep Canada safe. This is just one example of our best and brightest working together to find Made in Ontario solutions. We won't be reliant on anyone else. We can build anything here in Ontario. We'll have more details about the app to share in the coming days. With the expanded strategy in place, businesses, workers, and families will have the confidence they need to open their businesses and resume their daily lives. And I have to thank all our medical lab technicians, those working in our assessment centers, the hard-working people at Ontario Health, and our public health units. You're absolute champions. Thank you for everything you do, day in and day out. Thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Now I'll turn it over to Minister Elliott.
Thank you, Premier, and good afternoon, everyone. Together, we're making tremendous progress in our shared fight against COVID-19. For the 5th straight day, Ontario has reported fewer than 200 new cases of the virus, and we continue to see a persistent decline in the number of active cases in the province. This progress is no accident. It's the result of the hard work and dedication of every Ontarian to stay safe by practicing physical distancing and following public health guidelines. While considerable, however, these efforts aren't enough on their own. Early detection of and containing new cases of this virus have been and will remain critical as we look to put a stop to the spread of COVID-19. That is why we significantly expanded testing. Now we are enhancing case and contact management. As we begin to reopen the province, the number of contacts per case is expected to increase. As they do, it's never been more important to ensure that Ontarians and public health units have the additional resources, tools, and support they need to keep themselves and their communities safe. Our new case and contact management strategy is going to help us do that by ensuring that all new cases are reached within 24 hours and all close contacts are identified early so they can get tested. And it will ensure that those cases receive follow-up contact for 14 days. It will provide our public health units with additional staffing resources and significantly improve the technology we use to track and report new cases. We are finally getting on with the long overdue work of replacing outdated systems that no longer meet the needs of public health units. We are replacing the integrated public health information system introduced 15 years ago with a new custom-built case and contact management system. Implementation of this new system will begin almost immediately, with the first wave of public health units going live as early as mid-July. A Made in Ontario app will equip the public with a new and innovative tool to alert them when they may have been exposed to COVID-19 and provide users with quick access to public health advice and next steps. Combined, these initiatives will drastically enhance our ability to detect and contain new cases of this virus. As we do, we will continue to protect the health and well-being of all Ontarians. Thank you.
We'll
go to the phone line for questions?
I'm just going to, I just want to acknowledge a couple people. Before I take questions, my friends, I'd like to do a shout out to Maureen Cohen and the Cohen Foundation. They're making a $5 million donation to Conestoga College to help train more personal support workers, and that's incredible news. They're going to train 2,000 more PSWs over 5 years, and that's going to be a huge, huge help for long-term.
And welcome back. So that was Doug Ford, Christine Elliott, and David Williams. That was the press conference they have every day at 1 o'clock or thereabouts. I'd like to do some Facebook shout-outs. Also, you can actually share the Facebook stream. Erica did. Thank you very much,
Thanks,
Erica. But on the screen, when you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching us live on Facebook, there's a share button. You click on that. You just click share now, and it will actually share it to your Facebook stream. So you can show other people you're watching the show, and they can see the show as well. And as far as good afternoons, I want to say good afternoon to Ineke, Tammy Lynn, Nicole, and also Erica, who also shared the stream, and also hi to Mike, who also liked the stream as well. So
awesome. Thanks, guys. That's great.
Yes, thank you very much.
So before our premier came out and actually just kind of reiterated what we had already talked about.
Thank you for stealing our suggestions doing our nap.
And you stole ours, right?
We kind of beat you to it. Boy.
So that was timely. Way to
yes,
go.
very timely.
So ALS, like I said, they are doing a virtual walk schedule, but it's not just walking. It says walk your way is also. I mean, if you're unable to walk or get out, do any type of activity, perhaps a puzzle, and then you would go to their website and update that, and they have all the information there. So please try and help ALS out with their global, to get people.
Or if you want to
lost.
combine walking and a puzzle, do a corn maze.
I was going to say, I didn't walk into a puzzle, but of course Chris had the answer.
There's a way of walking
corn
and puzzling.
maze.
Corn mazes. Or what's the other thing that they do? Labyrinths or whatever they're called?
Yes.
Yeah. There you go.
Great idea,
You can
Chris.
do both. You don't have to do just one.
Well, I don't know about you, but
Be an overachiever, do both.
I could stand to split a 50-50 prize with the Sioux Area Hospital because their
those
jackpots have been
going
absolutely
crazy.
through the roof.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, the June draw date will be June the 30th. So get your tickets, 50-50, can't win, can't lose. I mean, the hospital gets money and you get money. So what about Catch the Ace? That's coming back today, and it is not. I mean, it's coming back as it was. Now, less people in the area. They have set up some social distancing measures. What they're saying is they encourage all of those participating to practice. You can play a group to limit the number of people visiting the club. They do stream it on their Facebook page, so please go to that. The draw is cash-only sales from 5 to 9 p.m. on the site, and you can stay for the draw, which happens at 9:30 p.m. So that is an exciting event. And they do a great job, the Brados at Esquire Club with that. So those are the few things that I wanted to bring to the attention of our community.
Yes. Thank you very much for doing that, by the way, Esquire Club.
Yeah, thanks, Esquire Club. It's awesome just to keep things going still, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
So how do we do a little weather? For those of you that were here this morning,
it was awful.
Someone stole my weather.
I did not.
And so it was a little bit of a... well, you know.
Listen, you're responsible for your own time. Just kidding. It was my fault.
Yeah, she stole it off the printer. Okay, so now we're going to do weather, and I actually have it this time, which is fantastic. So it's actually 26 outside right now. We could get up to 29. Tomorrow on Friday, it's going to be 31 without the Humidex, so it's going to be in the mid-30s with it. And we are going to be the hottest place in the province, probably tomorrow, if not near the top. On Saturday, it's going to be sunny and cloudy and down to 27 with a low also of 16. And showers could start Saturday evening, and on Sunday, most likely we will have showers. It's a question of when they're going to start, whether it's Saturday evening or into Sunday morning. So
I hope it's later in the evening.
Enjoy Saturday and Friday, because those 2 days are going to be pretty nice.
Well, and how nice is that
And
that
today.
we have the day off tomorrow to do
I know.
that? I can actually go to my first beach in Sault Ste. Marie. I'm really excited about that.
We're going to have the hottest day off.
So last night the French debate wasn't so successful. So what about the Green Party? What do they have planned?
Oh yes, the Green Party. The Green Party is also picking a new leader. There's presently 10 leadership candidates in the Green Party, so that's a lot. So what they're going to do is they're actually going to be splitting the first debate up into 2.
Okay.
So there'll be 5 candidates in one debate, 5 candidates in the next debate, and there'll be the first debate will be on June 23rd.
Okay.
Now this is through TVO.
It's Tuesday.
But if you don't have cable, so you can't get TVO, they also have it on their, you can watch it through Periscope, which is connected to Twitter. So if you go to the Twitter account for TVO, you can watch it there. It's also going to be on their Facebook as well and on their YouTube channel. So if you don't have traditional television, like if you're watching us on Roku, for example, or Amazon Fire,
Yep.
you will still be able to catch it through the social medias on the main platforms, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube
Awesome.
for that. So you can watch both debates. They will be taking place on June 23rd.
That's Tuesday,
and
yeah.
That's on Tuesday, correct. And all of the part, now this will be a little different than the Conservative debate.
Okay.
They will not be there in person. They will all be streaming from like their homes
Okay.
or their office.
What about French? Are they doing a French version?
That's a good question. Not according to this.
Okay, well, how about this for French? We'll be back.
No
Une
French.
minute.
No French right now.
We'll be back in 1 minute after this commercial break to discuss other stories.
See you in a sec.
A message from the Government of Canada.
Welcome back. You're with Chris and Colette on this Thursday, aka Baby Friday. Thank you to Casey Security for your sponsorship. Just want to remind you, we are advertising that Arch does need some help with their fundraising. The webpage will be put up at the bottom of the page of the screen here. Let's start this again, Colette. On the bottom of the screen, you will have a website that you can go visit, make your donation. Let's help out a very important place with very amazing people who work there.
Yes.
And over to you to update us on numbers and everything COVID and national.
Yes, things are still trending in the right direction right now. 173 new cases of COVID-19 were reported. These are obviously the numbers from yesterday, but only 3 people passed away yesterday, which is super low. We are looking at, right now, the numbers in the hospital, intensive care, and ventilators all dropped to their lowest levels since the beginning of April. Over half the cases were in Toronto, Peel, and Windsor, Essex, which are all still in stage 1. Tomorrow, stage 2 will be opening for the other public health units who have yet to go from stage 1 to stage 2. We are already in stage 2, so you'll see no difference tomorrow here in the Algoma district. Also, across Canada, we've now hit 100,000 cases of COVID-19, with most of those cases being in Ontario and Quebec. And we have now hit 5,300 total deaths from COVID-19 across the country, with most of those largely concentrated in the long-term care homes. Now, last night was a French debate for the Conservatives. Tonight is the English debate, which should go much better since they all speak English. So, both Lewis and Sloan last night had problems with French. They read off cue cards and so on. They've both said tonight's going to be a little different. Sloan has actually said that he's ready to rumble tonight, which I'm not sure what that is in a debate, but that could get interesting.
Big words. You better back those up.
So he's ready to rumble. And if you are a member of the Conservative Party, your mailed-in ballot has to be in by April 21st, and they are saying that this is actually going to be the last debate prior to that.
Okay.
So I guess over the next basically 2 months, they're not going to have another debate. I guess they're just going to do social media town halls and stuff like that. I'm not sure. They haven't really said.
Campaigning door-to-doors and stuff in town halls, yeah?
Well, I'm not sure they're going to be going door to door right now.
Some of them should. Some of them might.
Well,
After last
they
one,
might,
they
but you know,
they might.
I wouldn't go door to door in certain areas
They
of
want to
Quebec.
take
That's
some
for sure.
distance education courses in French.
Yeah. McKay last night went after O'Toole, obviously, because it's his main competition, calling him an angry man, accusing him of flip-flopping on his platform.
Ooh.
And O'Toole basically was not impressed with McKay and accused McKay of just being a liar. And afterwards, he said he was frustrated with McKay's attacks, calling them divisive and disappointing. McKay suggested that he presented a fair exchange of ideas to the Francophone voters. So, chances are tonight, those two will go at it again.
Yeah.
How much Sloan and Lewis will actually get in will be interesting to see. Regardless of how good they do in the debate, I highly doubt either one of them has a shot. It's basically a two-horse race with two other horses kind of running behind, trying to look as pretty as possible or something. I have no idea. They're more or less just the vanity campaigns, hence the pretty as possible joke. Thanks for getting that one. Appreciate that, you know. So, and that's
what
so you got some stuff going on.
I've got some more stuff. Okay,
yes,
so the
we have video as well.
Yes, I do. I'm going to pitch that in exactly 2 minutes.
Okay.
The CFL Commissioner, Randy Ambrosi, says the complexity of the situation of COVID-19 means that they're not going to start the 2020 league until late September. The cancellation of...
Don't they usually start like... They're already started by now,
yeah,
aren't they,
well, the NFL starts at the end of September. CFL is different now.
Because CFL plays through the summer.
They
normally.
do, but they've had to cancel the rest of that season.
I mean, normally they would be like in preseason at least, but now it's not already in this,
But CFL, they have had some financial issues in the past. Now, they've already come back to the federal government for $150 million. So I'm not too sure what's going to go into CFL, but we will keep you updated. But today we had a rally that Danny attended, but on top of that, she also, and it was for healthcare workers who weren't, who didn't receive the financial, who didn't receive the financial assistance from the government. They were left behind. So the optometry world is feeling much the same. So Dr. Bruni and Dr. Burns did an interview with our reporter Danny Dupuis, which we are going to throw to in a minute, and they have created a group, and more information we'll listen to right now.
The situation is not inflation indexed, and so the amount we make today is literally the same dollar for dollar as it was 11 plus years ago, and so we need a mechanism in place that will allow us to not have to revisit this issue every few years going forward.
And for yourself, would you like to add anything towards that?
Yeah, so there's three options our association gave the government last year while they were negotiating in good faith. And all three, the government just pretty much shut the door and walked away. So we really, to have to send a patient to the emergency room or back to their family physician when we know we're probably the best option for that patient is incredibly difficult for us. We've never had to do it. We've never sent patients away. We pride ourselves on being a primary care entry point that patients can get in that day, get the care they need, or be triaged to somebody who can provide that care. So this is really just a last-ditch effort on behalf of our association, on behalf of all optometrists in Ontario, to get the government's attention to kind of bring focus back to optometry's role in this province and how important we are in the healthcare system.
And you did say there was a petition going around right now that individuals can sign?
Yeah, so anyone, and we encourage everyone to go to www.saveeyecare.ca. There's a little bit more information, and then there's a petition, really simple. You put your name and your riding, so it can be directed to your MPP. And I think as of this morning, we are at over 5,000. It was launched yesterday. It did crash this morning. But it's back up and running, so we do encourage everyone to visit that website.
And welcome back. So that was our video on optometry, which this morning, if you watched, and we tried to do the weather when we didn't have the printed up version, and we're trying to read it on a screen across the studio that we see that's us live on the air. Neither one of us could actually read it.
Well,
so
you have glasses on, and you still couldn't read it.
Yeah, but I got a tree in my way.
That's true.
Like you had a direct view.
My obstacle was not a tree.
I have to look through leaves to see that. So I'm just saying.
Oh wow!
So,
Mike said we're getting old. The obstacle in my way was just my vision being blurry.
Yeah.
Let's talk about masks before we have to go.
Let's move down a little bit. Okay, let's talk nose and mouth now. Okay, so there's an organization called Masks for Canada, and they have sent an open letter to the federal government, and they've also obviously open letter means they've published it so that we can read it as well. And there's a couple main things that they want. Now here's the key thing. Masks only work if at least 70% of the population is wearing them. If you're not, it doesn't actually do anything to slow COVID-19. There's been a bunch of studies, particularly in Europe and in Germany, where they compared one region to another, when they started wearing masks, when they didn't. Basically, it's similar to a vaccination. You have to have a certain percentage of the population vaccinated before something actually works to eliminate it.
Yeah.
Masks are the same way. So
Makes
this
sense.
is where they would like masks to be wear. All indoor spaces outside the home, so schools, libraries, community centers, stores, restaurants, that sort of stuff. In crowded areas, both indoors and outdoors, so if you're going to a protest, wear a mask. If you're going to busy parks or trails, wear a mask, and also on public transit. Now, I go in depth on this tonight in my show at 7 p.m., Chris Oldborn's show. And then I also talk about the Conservative French leader debate, which was a good one. And then I also talk about Donald Trump and the International Criminal Court and how some Canadians are actually getting caught up in his ban because he has put some sanctions on people connected to the International Criminal Court.
Wow.
And Luann is on at 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. tomorrow, her special on her career, so watch it then.
Watch it.
And we'll see you Monday.